Welcome back, cinephiles. Tonight, we're firing up the flux capacitor to revisit 15 1980s movies that flopped hard. First, we'll dig into the specific business missteps and audience turnoffs that tanked them, then reveal why later viewers now hail them as underrated classic. Number 1. Blade Runner, 1982. Warner Brothers launched Blade Runner into the crowded 4th of July corridor, believing Harrison Ford's star power alone guaranteed summer gold. Trailers teased a turbocharged chase flick, yet the film opened with brooding monologues, sluggish detective work, and rain-soaked despair. Ticket buyers who just embraced Spielberg's joyous extraterrestrial felt blindsided, while early critics blasted the pacing as glacial and tone as morbid. A controversial work print ended abruptly, confusing sneak preview audiences and triggering negative word of mouth. Marketing costs ballooned, so even modest grosses looked catastrophic on ledgers already strained by elaborate model work and on-set overtime. International exhibitors further diluted revenue with pervasive piracy. Fast forward a few years and VHS allowed fans to pause each neon-dripping frame, decode philosophical riddles, and fall for Vangelis' hypnotic score. Subsequent directors, final, and ultimate cuts corrected narrative clunks, inviting fresh debate about Deckard's humanity and boosting academic attention. Cyberpunk authors, fashion photographers, and game designers mined its visuals, turning the once reviled picture into a canonical wellspring. What killed it initially, its melancholy mood and dense ideas, became exactly what modern audiences cherish, transforming a commercial miscalculation into a benchmark for contemplative science fiction. Number 2. The Thing, 1982. Universal slotted John Carpenter's body horror thriller 2 weeks after E.T., assuming monster counter-programming would work. Instead, family audiences recoiled from Rob Bottin's graphic creature effects, and critics denounced the film as soulless splatter. A restrictive R rating barred teenagers, prime summer spenders, while relentless TV spots featuring snarling dogs discouraged date-night crowds seeking lighter fare. Production delays had already inflated costs, so break-even projections soared. Opening weekend's meager returns convinced theater owners to dump the picture for gentler offerings. Studio executives, spooked by early press, curtailed marketing mid-run, sealing its fate. Home video later flipped the narrative. Horror fans froze frames to analyze every latex sinew, praising practical artistry light years ahead of computer graphics. Collegiate midnight screenings amplified its paranoia, and fanzines obsessively mapped character infection timelines. Modern reviewers hail its bleak ending as refreshingly uncompromising, while filmmakers from Tarantino to Del Toro cite its suspense syntax. In the end, The Thing's very refusal to comfort audiences doomed it financially, but secured its legacy as a masterwork of tension and craft. Number 3. Tron, 1982. Disney bet on first-generation computer graphics just as most ticket buyers still puzzled over home Atari consoles. Promotional material emphasized neon spectacles, but failed to explain joystick jargon like I/O towers, leaving parents clueless and kids uninterested. Budget overruns doubled marketing stress, and the studio booked a midsummer release opposite proven franchises. Reviewers complained the plot felt icy, calling characters programs with no pulse, amplifying doubt. Many theaters downgraded screen counts after one sluggish week, and tie-in merchandise gathered dust. Yet tech enthusiasts bought the VHS in droves, dissecting polygon landscapes and admiring light cycle choreography. Hacker culture adopted Tron's grid aesthetic. Daft Punk built an entire brand upon its glowing lines. Once the internet normalized digital metaphors, new audiences re-evaluated the film as a pioneering vision rather than a cold gimmick. The qualities that scared away ordinary viewers, dense techno lingo and groundbreaking visuals, ultimately crowned it the spiritual godfather of digital cinema. Number 4. The Secret of NIMH, 1982. Animator Don Bluth pitched a darker, mature storytelling just as parents desired soft, sing-along cartoons. Limited advertising budgets meant few knew the film existed, and those who did often left startled by lab rat vivisection and looming owl attacks. Competition from E.T. and Disney re-releases siphoned family dollars, while critics warned the tone might traumatize younger children. Consequently, box office receipts squeaked in under production costs. Over time, cable syndication allowed slightly older kids, now ready for heavier themes, to discover Mrs. Brisby's courage and the film's lush hand-painted layers. Animation students studied the candlelit tunnels and fluid cape swirls, citing them during Disney's own 90s renaissance. Blu-ray restorations highlighted its watercolor palettes, and online forums praised its refusal to condescend. What looked commercially suicidal in 1982, serious stakes and gothic ambiance, today feels like a vital counterpoint to assembly line fluff, earning NIMH a respectable perch in animation history. Number 5. Streets of Fire, 1984. Universal executives greenlit Walter Hill's self-described rock and roll fable without agreeing on its audience. Test screenings left demographics split. Music fans adored Meatloaf-style power ballads, while action buffs complained about metaphorical villains. Marketing pivoted weekly, confusing everyone. Released against Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the picture never caught oxygen. Theaters pulled Prince after an anemic $8 million return on a $14 million budget. Overseas distributors, noting its genre ambiguity, avoided wide release altogether. Japanese bootlegs later found their way into anime circles, where cyberpunk artists latched onto its rain-slick alleyways and neon signage. Jim Steinman's operatic soundtrack gained cult radio play, and Diane Lane's fiery stage presence inspired future music video directors. Over decades, critics reconsidered the film's gender dynamics and stylized visuals, calling it a proto-graphic novel on celluloid. Neglected for being too weird to market, Streets of Fire now thrives precisely because it defies easy labels. Number 6. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, 1984. Try summarizing rock star brain surgeon battles alien lectroids while perfecting a jet car in 30 seconds. Studio marketers couldn't, and neither could bewildered TV critics. Opening trailers highlighted random quips rather than plot, leading audiences to assume parody junk. Its late August release, historically a dump slot, further signaled low confidence, and a rushed rollout prevented word of mouth. Initial earnings barely covered Prince, prompting exhibitors to eject it after one weekend. On VHS, sci-fi aficionados embraced its encyclopedic lore, cataloging watermelon mysteries and chanting, "No matter where you go, there you are." Convention panels transformed its closing promise, sequel against the World Crime League, into an endless in-joke. Filmmakers like Edgar Wright cite its fast-fire tonal shifts as an influence on ensemble superhero comedies. The same density that scared off casual viewers gave devoted fans an endlessly rewatchable playground, turning an accounting nightmare into a cult cornerstone. Number 7. Brazil, 1985. Universal feared Terry Gilliam's bleak satire would alienate mainstream viewers and demanded a truncated, happy ending. The ensuing tug-of-war delayed U.S. release, so by the time the studio's compromised cut reached theaters, critics already reported the behind-the-scenes chaos. Audiences, puzzled by conflicting review versions, stayed home. Minimal promotion and limited screens doomed box office hopes, delivering under $10 million against hefty production debt. Bootleg screenings of Gilliam's original cut surfaced on college campuses, framing it as forbidden art. Film professors adopted it to critique bureaucracy and corporate censorship, and the Los Angeles Critics Association famously awarded it Best Picture, shaming the studio into releasing the director's vision on video. Decades later, its jury-rigged ductwork gadgets and poisoned paperwork inspire everything from The Matrix to steampunk fashion. The political bite that once panicked executives now feels alarmingly prescient, elevating Brazil from studio headache to essential dystopian text. Number 8. Return to Oz, 1985. Disney banked on nostalgia but delivered unsettling imagery. Electroshock therapy, desert ruins, and wheel-armed fiends. Parents expecting sing-along whimsy fled preview screenings, prompting newspapers to warn, "Too frightening for children." A June release opposite Sunny Comedy's obliterated ticket traction, and production overruns meant profitability required blockbuster numbers. Instead, domestic revenue stalled at $11 million against $28 million costs. Years later, those very nightmares became its charm. VHS-era kids, now adults, praised the film for acknowledging childhood anxieties. Stop-motion gnome faces and matte-painted Emerald City ruins earned praise from practical effects enthusiasts. Cosplayers flaunt TikTok's brass body at conventions, and modern critics salute a female lead who self-rescues. Once punished for tonal audacity, Return to Oz now enjoys recognition as a bold, faithful adaptation of Baum's darker lore. Number 9. After Hours, 1985. Warner Brothers positioned Martin Scorsese's surreal comedy in late September dump territory, banking on cult grown-up appeal, but offering almost no advertising support. Trailers showed manic chases yet hid the existential dread, confusing core audiences. Limited midnight showings restricted grosses. Word of mouth faltered because describing plot twists without spoilers proved impossible. The film doubled its tiny budget yet looked minuscule for a Scorsese title, echoing disappointment. Film students, however, revered its kinetic camera moves and snowballing nightmare logic. By the DVD era, One Crazy Night scripts openly referenced it, and podcasts dissected its escalating humiliations. Today, critics praise After Hours as a masterclass in tension release, while Soho gentrification articles cite its gritty streets as historical record. Its commercial shortfall stemmed from scheduling neglect, but its creative precision assured long-term esteem. Number 10. Labyrinth, 1986. TriStar's marketing couldn't decide if the movie was a child's fantasy or teen romance, pitching David Bowie's Allure yet spotlighting Henson puppets. The resulting tonal confusion, combined with mixed reviews about a thin plot, suppressed turnout. With Aliens and Top Gun still dominating screens, Labyrinth earned barely $12 million against a $25 million budget. Merchandising deals stalled, leaving shelves cluttered with unsold Goblin figurines. Home video resurrected the film. Repeat watchers memorized Escher staircases and the Magic Dance, while Bowie fans treasured every smirk. Conventions host annual masquerade balls honoring Sarah's White Gown Waltz, and Funko Pops finally cleared that leftover toy inventory problem. Modern critics highlight its proto-girl power arc and groundbreaking optical puppet integration. Marketing misfires buried it in 1986. Fandom resurrection crowned it timeless. Number 11. Big Trouble in Little China, 1986. 20th Century Fox insisted on a July slot, but cut the ad budget to prioritize Cameron's imminent Aliens rollout. Trailers framed Kurt Russell as a rugged savior, masking that he's actually comic relief. Confused reviews labeled the tone schizophrenic, and early box office dips turned exhibitor screens cold. Carpenter's frustration with studio interference worsened press coverage, and receipts halted at $11 million on a $25 million bill. Cable syndication, however, treated viewers to martial arts sorcery, Lopan's laser eyes, and quotable one-liners. Asian American audiences later praised its respectful incorporation of Chinese mythology compared to Western stereotypes. Directors like the Russo brothers cite its blend of humor and action as an MCU influence. The factors that confuse 1986 patrons, genre bending and role reversals, are exactly what modern fans celebrate. Number 12. Ishtar, 1987. Press leaks about camel mishaps and out-of-control budgets crafted a disaster narrative months before release. Columbia responded by slashing promotional support, and opening reviews, primed for failure, ridiculed the film's $51 million price tag. Viewers expecting an exotic buddy adventure received dry political satire and intentionally bad lounge music, leaving cinemas half full. Domestic revenue limped to $14 million, and the title became shorthand for Hollywood flop. Years later, Elaine May's directorial rediscovery led critics to reassess her razor-sharp wordplay. DVD extras explained controversial production woes, inviting sympathy. Comedians now cite the film's cringe-core musical banter as ahead of its time, influencing awkward humor staples like Flight of the Conchords. Once emblematic of waste, Ishtar now garners cult applause for fearless screwball wit. Number 13. The Adventures of Baron Munchausen, 1988. Constant studio takeovers chopped budgets mid-shoot, forcing Terry Gilliam to renegotiate sets and schedules, all while gossip columns tallied ballooning costs. Sony inherited incomplete marketing plans and quietly dumped the film into a few spring theaters, fearing backlash over its PG-13 sensuality. Parents overlooked it. Art house crowds couldn't find it. Domestic earnings totaled just $8 million against a reported $46 million outlay. Cinephiles later discovered its candlelit miniatures and forced perspective gags on Laserdisc, marveling at old-school stagecraft. Criterion Essays celebrated its commentary on storytelling exaggeration, and filmmakers from Cuarón to Del Toro referenced its handcrafted spectacle. Today, the Baron's lunar escapades symbolize artistic vision trumping budget horror stories, illustrating that imagination endures long after accountants close the books. Number 14. The King of Comedy, 1983. Fox executives feared audiences would reject Robert De Niro's against-type loser role and release the film on just a handful of screens in February. Box office Siberia. Without marketing muscle, grosses stalled at $2.5 million. Critics praised performances but labeled the script too uncomfortable, dissuading casual viewers. Over time, tabloids' relentless pursuit of celebrity made Rupert Pupkin's delusions seem prophetic. Cable retrospectives framed it alongside network as essential media criticism, and Joker's overt homage sparked renewed sales. Modern scholars dissect De Niro's body language in acting seminars, while Jerry Lewis's dramatic gravitas now earns belated respect. The very cringe that alienated 1983 audiences transformed into a powerfully relevant mirror for fame-obsessed culture. Number 15. Heathers, 1989. New World Pictures, cash-strapped, marketed the film as a typical high school comedy, hiding its arsenic wit and murder plot. Limited prints reached art house venues only, and early patrons, unprepared for suicide jokes, left scathing feedback. The Columbine-era climate hadn't arrived, but parental groups already fretted over campus violence, muting word of mouth. Box office returns failed to match Pretty in Pink. Video stores, however, shelved copies next to tame teen fare, creating forbidden fruit allure. Repeat renters absorbed razor-sharp dialogue, quoting, "What's your damage?" in hallways. A Broadway musical and TV reboot expanded reach, and critics now list Heathers as the blueprint for dark teen satire. Commercial hesitation originally stemmed from fear of controversy. That same audacity now cements its genius. Those were 15 cautionary tales where timing, marketing, or sheer weirdness torpedoed profits, but creativity ultimately triumphed. If a forgotten favorite made the list, hit like, share this deep dive, and subscribe for more underrated cinema journeys. Until next time, keep exploring beyond the box office.